Yo, the Comdex mainnet just went live. Comdex is a synthetic asset protocol that synthesizes products like, for example, crude oil or gold or any sort of traditional commodities and brings them into the crypto world, more precisely brings them into the Cosmos world. In the future, we'll also be able to generate different yield strategies with our Cosmos tokens, such as Atom, such as AKT, such as XPRT, but also with the native CMDX token of the Comdex platform. The CMDX token has a total supply of 200 million coins with a preset inflation of 30% in the first year, and then it reduces by 25% each year. 12.5% of those 200 million coins are reserved for an airdrop. But anyways, please check that out. Also make sure that you check out how many coins you get, because the portal is already live. And I think in the very, very near future, we will be able to claim those coins and potentially see liquidity pools on Cosmos dexes such as Osmosis, right? There has already been proposals up. There will be incentivized pools. There's going to be a lot that's coming there. And wherever you, whatever you do in crypto, you must be early in order to maximize the profits. Also in that context, I'm running a node with Stakecito together with the team of Stakes and Stone. Basically, we're running a couple of nodes now. SwiftChain also just launched. Consider delegating to us once you got the tokens. Right now, it's still just the native self-delegations that we use and the inflation. But once the token is live, feel free to delegate to us. And now I will leave you with the launch party panel, which I had the honor and pleasure to be moderating. And we had panelists from Persistence, from Comdex, from Sentinel, and also from Umee, right? And I have a very specific question for Brent at the very end regarding a potential airdrop for Umee, which, by the way, also just announced their CoinList public sale. So please make sure to watch this to the very end. Should we start? Are we live?
Yes, I think we're live.
Okay. Cool. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us here. Also big thanks and shout out to the Comdex team and everybody who organized this, put this together. I always love when the community comes together and all the different teams in Cosmos. I think that's something very, very unique about the Cosmonaut community and all the projects involved. So we just had the Cosmos conference in Lisbon, which was absolutely amazing. And there's a lot of familiar faces here on today's event as well. So yeah, really love this vibe in the Cosmos community. But yeah, we have a lot of faces here today, also a couple of new faces. So before we go into a couple of topics about your Cosmos journeys and your thoughts about certain things and also what you guys are working on, maybe who wants to start? Maybe Rudraj, can you start and give a little bit of introduction of yourself, what you work on, and some introductional thoughts.
Perfect. Again, a big shout out to the Comdex team for pulling us all together. And as Cryptocito said, a lot of familiar faces. I'm really glad to be here. So good to meet you, everyone. I'm Rudraj. I work with Persistence, and my official journey with crypto started out pretty much at the same time as it did with Persistence. Of course, apart from some exposure into crypto as a whole before that. And here at Persistence, I look at strategy, business development, and research, majorly on the proof of stake side, and talking about the liquid staking product that we have, there's P-Stake. For that, I look into mechanism designs and look at the overall project management of sorts. So yeah, that is me. Good to be here, and thanks for having me on. Yeah.
Awesome. Maybe Dan, if you want to continue.
Yeah, thanks, Rudraj. I'm Dan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Exidio. And so you probably know the brand Sentinel represent. So Exidio is the development arm building on the Sentinel network. So you can think of us more as the company that's building the products and services that connect to Sentinel. And Sentinel is a DAO, right? Sentinel is a peer-to-peer marketplace for anyone to route traffic through someone else's node and get end-to-end encrypted VPN access. So decentralized VPN. And so my role at Exidio is a little bit of everything, put on a lot of different hats, check on development, help making with progress and project management for the products we're bringing to market. We have mobile applications that are getting launched ASAP this month. We have desktop applications that are getting launched next month. We have another desktop application we're launching for offering bandwidth to the network. So we're making it easy for consumers to be able to get access to decentralized VPN. And as the CEO, I'm helping with leading the development of these projects, leading hiring and managing people. And I'm also working with all of our external partnerships, and then also doing some of the communications and face. As Cryptocito mentioned, we had an awesome time at the conference at Cosmoverse, and it's really cool to see the whole Cosmos community come together. And yeah, I'm here for it.
Awesome. And then we have Seth here from Mind Your Biz, fellow crypto YouTuber. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and share your introduction.
Sure. So my name is Seth, but I go by the alias Mind Your Biz and run the website mindyour.biz, and then have the vertically integrated crypto brand Mind Your Biz. And started my crypto journey later than I would have liked to. I was aware of Bitcoin in 2013. It kind of made waves in the tech circles that I was working at the time. Worked very closely with the global master trainer team at Samsung Telecom USA, and did the new hire orientations for other people, mostly focused on sort of consumer technology, right? So with them, after that, worked the retail team for Google. After that, worked the retail channel partner team for Microsoft. And so it's kind of funny. Sometimes in my videos, there are still people who remember me as that guy that they saw in a tutorial video for when Windows 10 launched. And so I guess I'm working more towards the open source and cryptocurrency space as a form of penance for all of what I perceived as an evil in promoting centralized and maybe highly surveilled platforms. So, but I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm just here for the journey. Love seeing the biggest players sort of, like, we haven't been able to successfully pick winners, I think, over the last several years. It's been a question of building. And so I've enjoyed learning about Cosmos. First exposure was, I guess, in 2018. I started hearing about Tendermint as a protocol, as a consensus protocol, and as a potential successor or, complement to EVM style chains. And I've just been fascinated ever since. So appreciate you having me on the panel today.
Awesome, yeah. And Godswill just typed here in the chat, Cosmos is surely going to explode. Yes, it will, definitely. Also because there's a lot of projects coming up, and they will all be interconnected through IBC. One of the big ones, and everyone is anticipating, and there has been some giant news yesterday or the day before, is Umee, right? So Brent, glad to have you here. How is everything going? And yeah, for those that don't know you, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, certainly. And yeah, really great to see everyone here. Thanks, Cryptocito. Yeah, hey, everyone. So I'm Brent. I'm the founder of Umee. Umee is a cross-chain DeFi protocol that interconnects between the Cosmos and other blockchain ecosystems. And we're building out a suite of DeFi tools that can interact with the broader Money Legos ecosystem. And, as Cryptocito mentioned, we just announced the CoinList sale yesterday. Very exciting stuff. Prior to Umee, I was the head of strategy at Tendermint, helped build out the Cosmos ecosystem, and brought lots of projects like DEXs, built out IPC, and built out different bridge protocols. Prior to that, I was an early employee at Consensus, the software company. So joined Consensus when it was 30 people, helped build it from 30 to 1,200 in the early days. I was in some of the early meetings with Vitalik, Joe Lubin, my boss at the time, Heiko Hees, Andrew Keyes, early Ethereum folks from Coinbase and miners during the time of the DAO hack, and had a chance to listen to Vitalik's ETH 2.0 vision back then. He called it Serenity, and I'd say that's one of the reasons I like Cosmos so much, because he was pitching proof of stake back when Vitalik was like putting together these ideas. Jay Kwan was and Ethan Buckman were already talking to Vitalik, and in fact, Cosmos invented the concept of a bond validator, and they invented the concept of slashing conditions. And so these are all intermingled ideas with Ethereum and Cosmos. But just got to see a lot of the ups and downs of the crypto ecosystem. My first job at Consensus was we were like, oh, we need to get Ethereum listed on exchanges and stuff. So I put together documentation for helping facilitate that process. But prior to all this, I traded bonds, specialized in MBS products. I'd say that Umee's kind of an amalgamation of Ethereum DeFi, Cosmos proof of stake, and cross-chain, plus many concepts from the bond and debt world, and we're pretty much building a base layer DeFi protocol.
Excellent. Yeah, awesome. And I think we have one more person here, right? Siddharth, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Cryptocito, and thank you all of you for joining us today. Most of you would know, actually, Chango was supposed to be joining us on this panel, but unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, we weren't able to have her on. But I'm confident in the future we'll have more such events where we'll have more folks from the Cosmos ecosystem speak, and I'll make sure we have Chango join us and attend, because we would all love to hear what she has to say about what we're about to talk about today. So just a bit about myself. I lead Comdex as COO. With Comdex, we're building a decentralized synthetics protocol on the Cosmos ecosystem. Prior to working with Comdex, before we started the synthetics protocol, we were doing the enterprise trade platform, which was facilitating real world commodities trade. That was my first sort of foray into the world of blockchain and crypto. But prior to working in crypto and blockchain, I have experience working in traditional finance. I've worked in wealth management in Canada, and I've also worked in an investment banking arm of a Big Four consulting firm in India. So it was my experience in the world of traditional finance and the realization of everything that's going on in the crypto ecosystem and the crypto space that sort of created the FOMO in me, that made me want to make the leap and jump to the good side, as I like to call it. So that's how I came here, and that's me.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think over the past few months, since Osmosis took IBC to the masses, basically, we've seen an explosion in demand. The community grew really fast, and overall, I feel like we're getting a little bit more hype with Cosmos. That's something we urgently need. But it has not always been like this, right? So maybe can all of you share in a few sentences, what is your Cosmos journey been so far? How did you stumble upon it? What got you hooked to say, hey, this is cool, I want to be part of the community, I want to build on it? You're all builders, right? And me and Seth, we're also content creators. So what is the thing that really got you hooked? And Brent, especially, maybe we can start with Brent, because you came from the core Ethereum part, right? And then kind of like you somehow got into Cosmos. So yeah, Brent, maybe share some thoughts on that.
Yeah, certainly. I got some perspective here. So I think one way to look at it is that, let's say Ethereum 2.0 failed, like it wasn't able to launch. You'd get this sort of like ETH 1.5 with like sharded execution environments. You'd have rollups, and then you have data availability, sort of this ETH 1.5 world connecting between a proof of work Ethereum with a proof of stake one. That's what Cosmos is. Cosmos is representative of that ecosystem. We have different zones, can be shards interconnected by IBC. We have a bridge that connects between a fast finality network with a probabilistic finality network in the form of different like gravity bridges. Cosmos represents that vision, and in my introduction earlier, I talked about how when Vitalik was coming up with proof of stake, like they were talking with Jaquan and Ethan Buckman about all these ideas, and a lot of these proof of stake ideas originated with Jay and Ethan, and so that's why we see Cosmos built the way it is today. It's a functioning proof of stake protocol, and that's what I'm just extremely excited about, especially IBC, just best communication protocol in all of blockchain.
Awesome. And then Dan, in your case, it's also been really interesting because you guys have been also fully on Ethereum, and we're, I think, one of the first projects to migrate then completely over to Cosmos. So why was that the case? How did you find it, and how do you see the value proposition of Cosmos?
Yeah. So and it's also the journey of Sentinel and the Sentinel making the project, and also kind of my personal journey. I wasn't as deep into Ethereum as being like one of the earlier members at Consensus, but I've always been active in the crypto ecosystem, and I was very involved in Ethereum and EVM chains, and I'm still excited and hopeful for Ethereum 2.0 to launch. And I do think that a lot of the success that happens and grows within the blockchain ecosystem will eventually migrate its way over to Cosmos and connect to IBC. But Sentinel realized early on that it needed to get the protocol live and needed to bring it to market. And there were a lot of excited developers. I actually wasn't a part of the initial development team for Sentinel. I was always an early community member and big supporter and kind of community champion back at the end of 2017. And during that time in early 2018, once they got the protocol live, the early developers had doubts around the architecture and sustainability of being able to keep a ledger of all the different bandwidth providers that are offering their bandwidth to the network available on a ledger on Ethereum. So at that point, they were looking for different architectures and doing a lot of research into a lot of different layer ones, and found that the Tendermint consensus made a lot of sense, and that then they looked into the Cosmos SDK and realized that that would be the proper chain for Sentinel to be able to have independence and to be able to have sustainability long term. So that was an early design mechanism decision that was made, I believe, in the first quarter of 2018, and had been building on Cosmos SDK for a long time. And Sentinel has been very active in the Cosmos community for a long time, participated in Game of Zones and Game of Stakes, and we've been award winners in both of those competitions and bringing more robustness to Cosmos as IBC went live. So it's been a really amazing journey. And like you said, Cryptocito, it's kind of a long time coming to now see Osmosis and Gravity and SwiftChain actually making this accessible to the world and not just like a theoretical thing. So it's been really cool to see. And we've been really fortunate. We've been one of the most liquid and deep pools on some of these bigger dexes as well. So we're excited to see the whole ecosystem continue to grow.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think it's also an ideological thing that got a lot of people hooked. At least that's what brought me into Cosmos. Is like when I saw this rise of chain tribalism and maximalism, I'm like, man, this is most likely not the outcome of where crypto and blockchain and the whole DLT industry is headed. And before this call, we also talked briefly about this. So Seth, maybe you can share some thoughts, and if you can also relate it onto Cosmos, what are you kind of like interested in that ecosystem? How do you view the whole thing?
Well, hey, first off, I appreciate again that you guys are having me on this stream. We have so many great builders, so I'll be brief because as a content creator, frankly, we're trying to expose the great work of builders. So, in a brief overview, the thing that has me most excited about Cosmos ecosystem and IBC is the extension of all of the value that was built before, right? So we're standing on the shoulders of giants, so to speak. Just heard Brent talk about some great builders in the space who are very well known, who've done transformative work in the space, and rather very, very innovative work in the space that is now sort of the starting point for a lot of transformational work. And then hopefully we see significant innovation on top, not just transformative work. And I think that IBC really does represent that in terms of making proof of stake consensus with high throughput a reality today, instead of having to wait again. I built my content channel on proof of work mining content, and primarily GPU mining content, which of course spoke very directly to the Ethereum community. And so kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Where we keep hearing announcements of, as was mentioned before, Serenity, and then it finally got a name of Ethereum 2.0. And then we were told, it's coming. So miners, you're on notice. We're going to start cutting rewards, and we've got all these other mechanisms to wean ourselves from proof of work. And for my part, it's been enough advanced warning that those of us who've been focused on proof of work, we've sort of realized, okay, we may be able to continue this as a business pursuit. We may be able to continue this even at scale as a business pursuit, but we kind of have to face the realities that there are other options. That whether or not I don't want to get political about it, whether or not you believe the narratives about conservation and the ecological superiority of proof of work versus proof of stake, don't want to go there. But regardless of your views there, if you're involved in proof of work, you have to respect the fact that proof of stake is established and working now. And the builders that we have on stage here, they're just proof of that. So yeah, it's affected my content stream in a significant way to just have to pivot and realize, okay, if I want to highlight significant innovative work that transforms some of the best that blockchain and DLT has had to offer to date, I have to focus on Cosmos. I have to focus on IBC. Like, even if I didn't want to, logically, I'm forced to. There's really no other place that I can go to find the same level of innovation. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, and I think proof of stake is a reality. So is also IBC and interoperability, and I think that's also the next big thing in the whole industry, because we need seamless connections between ecosystems. We only have, unfortunately, 1.5 minutes left, so I'll do a quick question for both Rudraj and Siddharth. What do you guys think? What is the kind of like where's the most innovation going to happen within the Cosmos ecosystem over the next, say, 3-6 months? And I know you both are working in distinct fields, so maybe you can share some insights on that.
I'll make it very quick because I want Rudraj to speak about liquid staking as well, which is part of my answer to your question. In terms of all the big things that's going on in Cosmos since I have joined, I've kind of actually lived it through other people, through other builders that I've known and seen their journey of what they've built. And that's been my early experience of how I experienced what has happened in the Cosmos ecosystem. And you know, when earlier this year we embarked on this journey of building the Synthetics protocol, getting involved in the Cosmos ecosystems ourselves fully. That's when I started to truly experience what this ecosystem holds. And you know, there's a lot of headroom to be tapped into with everything that's yet to come. But this year has been tremendous for Cosmos and everything that's come, and it has been driven by projects like Persistence, which Rudraj will shortly talk about, I'm sure, with what they're doing with liquid staking. This is what's going to drive revolution and innovation in the space. So Rudraj, I would love to hear about it from you as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Siddharth. Yeah, so in terms of the innovation happening within the Cosmos ecosystem, the question really, targeting innovation happening in a particular front, really, undermines the overall innovation happening, and not just at the app layer, but at the underlying protocol layer itself, where in the conference also, there were so many interesting talks about interchain security, interchain accounts, and chain registry, and a bunch of other protocol layer technology innovations that are essentially going to drive innovation on top of it. And coming to the app layer itself, again, a bunch of innovations happening on different fronts. Let's say with AMM, we have Osmosis wonderfully driving user experience of the interchain ecosystem growing within Cosmos. Gravity Dex has been beautifully, doing with the model of equivalent swap pricing model against the CPMM. Something, again, as Siddharth mentioned, that is particularly interesting to me and at Persistence is liquid staking, because there's just so many different thought channels as to what would work and what wouldn't, or what is the most optimum way to go about it. So there's native liquid staking that is issuing derivatives at the chain layer itself. That's something that Umee has adopted with the Me token. So that they're building, and there's the standard staking derivatives that are issued at the app layer. That is something that pStake is doing, and broadly live for Atom and XPRT. And then again, there's superfluid staking, which is kind of an opposite way to what staking derivatives do, and make people participate in DeFi first and then participate in staking. So there's just so many thought channels, and it'll be really interesting to see how all of these innovations that are currently happening in sort of a disjoint manner would come together and maybe evolve into a solution that gives out the most optimal value for the ecosystem as a whole. So yeah, that is about liquid staking. But apart from that, a bunch of innovation happening on many different fronts. On the NFT side as well, especially with after IBC has materialized after a long while when it was under development. Inter NFT standards that are being developed, clubbed with the lower fees and the higher TPS and IBC within the ecosystem, all of this clubbed together is gonna give rise to a whole new bunch of use cases that have not been seen yet. So yeah, really excited to see all of these materializing slowly, and in next 3 or 6 months, not just that, but next coming years are going to be explosive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I highly recommend everybody to check out Abhitej's presentation at Cosmoverse, which you can find on my YouTube channel, Cryptocito, but also on DeFi Times or the Omniflix channel, which is right after Sunny's presentation about superfluid staking. So it's really funny to see their kind of like how they play together or different views on the topic, which is very interesting. Very last questions, we have to wrap it up, unfortunately, is for Brent. I can't let you go without asking you this, because CMDX is doing an airdrop, Sentinel is doing an airdrop or a hodl drop. Persistence did one. Brent, tell us, is there an airdrop?
Soon.
All right, soon. All right, so stay tuned, I guess. Follow all the channels, also from all the speakers here on this panel today. And yeah, thanks again to the Comdex team for having us on. I think this was really productive, even though it was pretty short. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone being here. And yeah, I'll see you on some other occasion in the future.
Thank you
for having us
for joining.
Again.
Thanks all. Thanks audience.
Thanks, Crypto.
Airdrop season.
Thanks, everyone.